What is going on, Turf Toe League? It is week 15. Playoffs. Yes, it's the playoffs. We got some really good matchups here. I want to jump into last week's matchups first and take a look at the recap real quick. Last week in week 14, we had myself winning against John in epic fashion in the last, 5 minutes of the game or something like that, thanks to James Conner. And then we had Michael defeating Pizza by Alfredo's here, Mr. C. Breezy. He is fallible. And then we had David actually going down to Brett, and rounding it out, we had Bill coming in strong, and Harlan just not having a great week either. So we had Kirk Cousins, we had Pat Mahomes, we had Justin Jefferson putting up basically 100 points together, and luckily the superstars were superstars for myself.
The stack of Cousins and Jefferson will pay off or not. That's pretty much where you're at on that one.
Yes, it will.
Let's be honest, looking at the quarterback play of Carr and Kyler Murray going out, so a combined total of, 5.1 points between Michael and I in the QB2 conversation. I'm glad this week happened now. Let's just say that. Week 14, now still week 14, even without the playoffs. Lack of touchdowns for me if you go down the line on my side, and I mean that's really the difference maker here.
Yeah, this one was surprising to me. I definitely don't think I picked Brett. I think I probably skipped over him in the podcast last week. Miles Sanders, I think he's just the beneficiary, and they're actually using him. Not a whole lot. Mike Williams' return was great for him, and that got him there. Deebo Samuel was playing great, and the Jamar Chase trade, that certainly has helped him. I think he won that trade this week with Diggs just having a down week. Brett just having a couple of heavy hitters in there to get him over the hump. David just really struggling. He didn't have any players over 30. He had several in single digits. Oh, and yeah, DJ Moore, 0.6. Surprise.
Classic DJ Moore game right there. And the Dak Prescott against Houston is what it was surprising to me.
Let's move on to the last one.
Yep, Jalen Hurts doing Jalen Hurts things. Still kicking myself in the rear end for not keeping him. Yep, I had a long debate about that one, but let's be honest. Running back Swift, it made sense. Obviously not so much anymore.
In my opinion, that sucked.
But Geno Smith been the big surprise. I mean, you gotta look at those two and think, the overall QB1, I think it's the overall QB9. I'm gonna go back and look at the stats. 2 top 10 quarterbacks. That's gonna obviously carry any team in our league. Garrett Wilson's been a nice little surprise down the stretch. Austin Eckler's the number one position player in our league right now, so that's been a nice little thing for him too. So Bill's got some heavy hitters on the top. It's a matter of that middle to lower part of your starters, and that's kind of the story for Bill. David Harlan, McCaffrey and Jacobs are just scary in and of themselves as that 1-2 punch at running back. Lamb, Waddle, and ETN, that 8, 5, and 3, that's not going to win you matchups. So
nope.
That was the difference maker, I think, here.
And Tua also kind of on a downturn as we head into the stretch, so I'm not sure what he's going to look like going forward as one of these top guys. So the real standings are you, Bill, and then Michael, and then myself, Counselor, into 5th, and then Harlan coming in 6th with the point total. I mean, John and Brett just had no chance with the record or points, so we pretty much knew what it was going to be. So that takes us to the playoffs.
Do we want to do regular season stats before we dive into playoffs?
Yes.
Stats of the week with
season-long stats now that it's over. Really the things I wanted to make notable comments on. So our team average, so every week, what was our average team score among the entire league? We came in the season at 178.56, a whopping 11 points lower than our highest ever. No records as far as highest and lowest weekly score average by the league. As far as the waiver moves, we had 421 this year. Unfortunately, Bill, your record of losses has not been broken yet. Warner had 10 points for. John had 164.42, but that's not the lowest game score average we've had. Points against, Harlan, the average team that played you every week, scored 184.86. Bill, the average team that faced you was scoring 171.35. Harlan had to score 185 points essentially to win every week. Bill only had to score 172, and that makes a very big difference in the standings. We had 2 records broken this year. The largest fab bid of 211 for Garrett Wilson, who I should have kept on because apparently he's trying to have a stretch run now. Joe Mixon at 64.1 points. That broke the league record for highest ever per game previously held by Brett.
New record.
All right, well, jumping into the playoffs, speaking of,
Playoffs?
we have Mr. Bill with the fake 1 seed, yourself with the fake 2 seed. This week, we are going to have myself going up against David, Michael going up against David. This one's going to be fun just because Michael and David Harlan playing in the playoffs again. It always ends up there.
Lately, I feel like Harlan has had the better of Dylan. It started the other way around.
Harlan's like,
You and me, Michael, yes.
he's excited. So jumping in here, we've got myself going up against Mr. Blue Claws.
Yeah, so sitting here looking at the matchups, I'm assuming things are mostly locked in. You know, there may be a position or two switched as we go. Looking about the quarterback matchups, Cousins and Mahomes. Mahomes going up against Houston. Yikes. Kirk Cousins going up against Indianapolis, who's typically middle of the road. They've been playing good, hard defense lately. And then Dak Prescott against a surprising Jacksonville team, even though they give up a lot of points to the quarterback. And then Deshaun Watson going up against Baltimore. So you expect that one to be played hard. Looking at this on paper, I mean, you always got to look at Mahomes here as the favorite. I really think this match is going to come down to what does Kirk Cousins do. Looking at the wide receiver positions, very top heavy. Diggs against Jefferson. Hopkins is against Denver. Denver being a really good defense. They give up the fewest points against the wide receiver position. Yeah, so I honestly, looking at these matchups, I mean, Miami's going to have to score points against Buffalo. Diggs, even though Miami's offense seems to be meddling a little bit, and it's actually going to be in some freezing cold weather there, so
It's going to be snow, actually, I think.
yeah, if it's snowing, what are you going to expect, out of Tyreek Hill? And honestly, if I'm looking at this, I like Counselor's side. Running backs, is Ramondre Stevenson going to be healthy? Question mark. Who knows?
Yep. Question mark, big old one.
Kamara going up against Atlanta. Again, that's a divisional matchup. Saquon Barkley, I feel like, has been meddling a little bit. That's a really good, stout Washington defense. On Andy's side, Knight to have a big day against Detroit. They give up a lot of points in general.
Christian Watson will probably be in for Mike Evans at this point. I can't take 6 points from Mike Evans. I can take 6 points from Christian Watson, but probably going to be a lot of movement here.
Looking on the other side there, as we're thinking about flex plays and stuff like that, I mean, it depends if Lamar Jackson plays. You're going to, Mark Andrews is definitely going to be there. Aaron Jones, I think is expected to play this coming week, so that's question mark for A.J. Dillon there. Ultimately, if I'm looking at this on paper, you got a lot of question marks, Andy, and I know there's some moving pieces here, but I think I like Counselor.
Kind of lean myself here, but if it ends for me, it ends for me.
I think if I'm going to pinpoint this, Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, James Conner. You get big days out of those three guys. I think you are definitely talking moving on.
Jumping into our final matchup, I'm going to consider this one our matchup of the week. I don't hate Justin Herbert at Tennessee. Great passing defense to attack. I don't hate Arizona. Great defense to attack. On the other side, Jared Goff and Lamar Jackson. Jared Goff against the Jets. That defense is so solid. I don't know if the Lions have it in them to beat the Jets. I mean, the Jets have been very strong. So it looks like he's sitting Tua at this point. He's going to have to roll with Tua if Lamar is not healthy. Jerry Jeudy is solid, but 3 touchdowns in 1 week. I don't know that you're going to see that repeated. If it's against Arizona, I could see it happen if Cortland Sutton doesn't come back. Not crazy about the wide receivers. I like CeeDee Lamb against Jacksonville for sure. Running backs, I like Nick Chubb against Baltimore, Tony Pollard against Jacksonville. Tony Pollard's been great as long as they use him. McCaffrey is very efficient. Do lean more Michael on this one. And then we've got Komet going up against Freiermuth. Kind of a wash to me. Throw Taylor in there against Minnesota. I do like that. I think for the running backs overall, probably still gonna lean Michael.
When it's all said and done, I think I'm looking at a couple different things. One, I'm looking at what is that, if Russ doesn't play, what does he get out of that person that replaces? If he gets a good solid week, we're in business. All things considered, looking at the wide receivers, I think they can kind of come off as a wash. I'm circling Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, as the difference maker out of that whole pack of 6. The ETN against Dallas, Chubb's playing against Baltimore, divisional matchup, that's going to be physical. Really, can Tony Pollard match McCaffrey? I think is what we're asking there. Komet and Freiermuth, it's basically which one gets the touchdown, and if I'm like logically thinking through that, Chicago's going to have to score points against Philly, so I think Komet gets one maybe in a garbage time situation, so I think I actually like that side of the coin there specifically. New England's going to shut down what Las Vegas does best, and that's run the football. So I expect Josh Jacobs to be limited. This may be a day where you see a Mac Hollins or something like that. Ultimately, I think those are just kind of some storylines I'm looking at here. Question marks on Michael's team is what kind of has me a little worried. I think Harlan does just enough to move on in this equation, just because there's some question marks there for Dylan, and I think that's that quarterback position, and there's a couple tough matchups that I'm looking at here, specifically with Dallas.
I'm going to split the difference on this one. Michael, I choose you.
You and me, Michael, yes.
Anyways, so yeah, this has been a long one, but it's been fun, man. Hopefully everybody's been enjoying these and watching them. Anyways, so enjoy the weekend. Enjoy watching football. Enjoy crapping your pants. Remember, we have Saturday games. We have Thursday, we have Saturday, we have Sunday. So it's going to be a mess. I am not looking forward to the agony that my stomach is going to go through over all this time. That is fantasy. That's fantasy. Until next week, Turfy, good luck in the playoffs. Peace out. Gotta believe.
Well. Boss for, what was it? 4.5 hours? New record. Low. Previous record? Henry Roston. Boss for 9 years, 4 months. And he only left because he had family matters to attend to, and what? Michael?